So I've been drawing professionally for 7 years, and I choose this career because I've done loads of different jobs. I worked as a career coach, I worked as a visual design consultant, I worked as a recruitment consultant, which was a Wolf of Wall Street job, and I've been a teacher, which I actually am right now. And all of those jobs are fun, but the most fun and the most happy is when I'm drawing and when I'm teaching about artistic confidence. So I just want to have fun, and that's why I decided to become Dr. Draw. I started getting serious with drawing when I was 27, and it happened because I was working in a corporate company where money was valued a lot. But personally, money is handy, but it's not a core value of mine. So I figured that out the hard way and eventually decided that I want to do something that I really value, which is drawing and thinking visually and doing something that you really love. So I started working 4 days a week and eventually got a job where I could use drawing. That's where I slowly got the idea that drawing actually has a value. And I never knew that. So I want to share with more people that drawing has a value for society. I have a pretty autistic creative process. I try to step over the idea of finding inspiration, but I always work in time zones. So whenever I draw, I set a timer for 40 minutes and I focus very specifically on one theme that I want to draw. I do that, and when the timer goes, I stop. Instead of waiting for inspiration, I expect inspiration to come when I draw. So on average, I spend about 1 to 2 hours drawing every day. Some days I spend 5 hours, and some days I don't draw at all. It's always hard before I start drawing, but after 10 or 15 minutes, I can't really stop. It's a moment, there's like a barrier before starting to draw, but once you're in it, it's just, I'm taken over. While drawing, I feel like time doesn't exist. I totally feel in the flow. When I'm drawing, I always try to visualize something, and when I can't visualize it, I try to find a solution for the problem, and this just keeps going on and on and on. So yeah, it's nice. The most challenging thing for me to draw is expressive drawing. The past few years, I've really focused on drawing technically, and the way I see it, you can draw either technically and use logic and measuring, or you can draw expressively and be a bit more abstract. And I think drawing is best done if you do both. So you do a little bit of expressive and drawing from your feelings, and a little bit of analytical drawing and draw from the head. And I'm kind of scared of going into this expressive region because it means stepping away from logic and just doing how you feel. So how do I try to overcome this? I probably have to spend some time just drawing how I feel. I always like to goof around, so I always like to add some humor to my drawings as well. And my background in psychology has learned me a lot to analyze behavior and thus also analyze drawings. I always try to see how are elements linked to each other and how does it work. So I have a both humoristic approach to drawing, but also a very analytical way of looking at drawings. Trying to understand how to build a drawing, how to place elements in a context, how to shade, how to add anatomy and details. I do think the culture you're from influences the way you make or the way you perceive art. I think Dutch is a pretty rational culture. It's really about thinking and not so much, it's really result orientated. So for example, an artist like Mondrian is Dutch. He has a very rational approach to working. But Picasso is far more expressive. And I think that when you get into warmer cultures, art is more expressive. And when you get to colder cultures, art is going to be more analytical. Is that also in my art? I think the past few years I've been focusing on make analytical art, but I also see the pitfall of making analytical art because it's just one part of being human, right? We also have feelings, so that's gonna be my next challenge. So I think both talent and practice influence an artist's skill. But I kind of try to stay away from the subject of talent because I think a lot of people want to become an artist. They enjoy it, but they see it as a struggle or they object because they think I don't have talent. So both talent and practice influence someone's skill. But in the end, it doesn't really matter if you're talented or if you practice. It's about having fun. If you have fun doing something, you're gonna see that in someone's work. If I feel very stuck and depressed and I make an art piece, it's gonna feel stuck and depressed. It might still be a good art piece, it might still express emotions and I might still connect with a certain audience. But you know, if you're doing a job, let's say you work in a shoe shop and you hate your work, you're gonna make shitty shoes and nobody's, you know, gonna enjoy buying shoes from you. And I think the same thing is in art. So whether you have talent isn't really important. It might help you in your journey in becoming an artist, but in the end, it's about having fun. And if you like something you do and you practice long enough, I think you can become whatever you want to be. So the final project of this course is building a dynamic pose with a figure. You can either work with a realistic figure or a more cartoony figure. That's up to you. We will do exercises focused on the 4 fundamentals of drawing a dynamic pose, which is balance, movement, volume, and readability. I found these 4 fundamentals to be the foundation of drawing with dynamism, which you can also use if you don't want to draw a dynamic pose, but you want to draw something that feels alive. In the end, art is about visual communication, but you need to know just like language has spelling and grammar, you also need to understand that visual communication has certain themes as well. And I think that movement, readability, volume, and balance are those fundamentals of communicating visually. And that's exactly what we'll be doing in this course. We're going to look at those exercises and we're going to fill a sketchbook. At the end of this course, I want students to feel more confident in using a sketchbook, into overcoming the fear of a blank page. Instead of thinking you should make a beautiful drawing, if you have 10 minutes a day and you want to draw, but you feel fear of filling a page, then you should take this course. Because after this course, you'll be able to take whatever time you have and fill a page.